Good morning, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am so happy to have some time with you today on this Wednesday. I know. Never always sure what day it is, but always happy to be with you. But every day that we do YWTV, no matter what it is really about living our best life, and just something that I know we strive to have our programming geared around. And we really work to cultivate guests that will help us stay focused in that way. And that's what's wonderful about today's guest. We're another great conversation that's really about focused about keeping our best life in mind and not getting caught up in the undertow of negativity. And specifically today is a little bit around some of that body image stuff that is so prevalent for women. We know that there is such a culture of that we are struggling with, every day, about weight loss and what our body should look like and how we should feel. And, it also is one of those things, because of those messages we hear, that when we get up in the morning and we look in the mirror, that there are all these messages, that are kind of coming back at us, that are not necessarily focused in a positive way around self-love, self-care. And our goal is to really help us retrain our brains, with those messages. And that's why we're talking with Jill Cruz today. She is the CEO and founder of Work With Your Nature Weight Loss. And she and her team of women, she and her team focus on talking to women over 40 that are just basically fed up with yo-yo dieting, and really trying to focus, making lifestyle changes that are sustainable, healthy, and joyous, and focused on keeping what you put in your body, from a food perspective, keeping you feeling good, and from feeling good, hopefully, also feeling like you're looking good too, and not those other messages that we bombard ourselves with. So let me tell you a little bit about Jill. She has a Master of Science degree in Human Nutrition and is a board certified nutrition specialist and a certified Big Leap coach. She is on a mission, as I said, to help women achieve their wildest dreams for their health, while at the same time loving the food they eat and living the life that they live. And, what is better than that goal right there? Welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and I love your mission as well. I feel like there's a lot of parallels and similarities. So you're speaking my language.
Well, I know that, and that's why we were so happy to have you. There is a lot of overlap. And although on YWTV over the years, we've had a lot of conversations like this, I feel like you really can't have enough, because our brains, unfortunately, are so trained not to feel good about this conversation, and not to feel good about our bodies, and not to feel, not to be able to embrace, healthy choices in an easy way without doing a trip on ourselves. That it's never a topic that's out of sync. It's something that we need to keep talking about. And what I also think about this topic is, because we are all wired so differently, that the beauty of us talking to so many different people is that someone is going to be talking your language, right? Because it may not hit you when one person is presenting it in the way that works for them and others that they work with, but someone else is going to deliver it in a different way. And I love that you work specifically with women in a certain age group. So I want to talk to you about that. But before we get into that, tell us your story. I mean, you yourself kind of are the poster child for why, you created this business. I mean, you manifested it from your own life experience.
Absolutely. And by the way, our team is all women. I know you started to say it, but we are all women, and I'm proud of that. So yeah, so to summarize very succinctly, for 15 years, I was beholden to this nighttime eating, what I used to call a habit, which actually I realized is an addiction, because if you live with it that long and you still think about it even after you've overcome it, yeah, I think I can call that. I used to think it was too dramatic, but I kind of, I created that habit, that addiction myself, which I think happens. I didn't know what I was doing. I was eating ice cream every night, and I thought that was what I deserved. And I didn't think there were any negative consequences of that. I was home with the baby, and then the other baby came. And at the end of the day, I just needed to have that time alone. And food was food, specifically ice cream, was such a comfort to me. It really was. It felt like that was my self-care. That was it. So it took me a long time to even realize that the ice cream wasn't necessarily the best thing for my health. I actually got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition of the thyroid, when my oldest daughter was 7. And some people listening or watching may definitely have heard of Hashimoto's. So I got that wake up call, but it still took me many years before I was able to, first of all, figure out how to nourish my body properly. And then what happened was I was eating really healthfully. I still had my nighttime eating thing, but instead of eating ice cream, I was eating pretzels and popcorn and fruit and that kind of thing. But what happened was I started to become a little bit too obsessed with healthy eating, which is part of the reason that this is such a loaded topic. Like you were saying, it's not just about getting the nutrition right. It's also about the joy and the pleasure of eating. And I kind of forgot about that. So I had to kind of go through those phases, but ultimately I still had, even though I was able to cure myself of Hashimoto's, I still had that nighttime eating addiction. And what I realized was it was about my mindset and really approaching it. The truth is that I was afraid that I was going to suffer. Like if I had to stop the nighttime eating, it was going to be hard and I was going to hate it and I was going to suffer. So I didn't want to do it. But I kind of had to dig a little bit deeper and find out what's important to me here. What's my motivation or my inspiration for not doing that?
Yeah.
And so that was really the mindset piece. So we incorporate all of those things into our work with our clients.
You just said so much in what you shared, because I think that, I mean, I can relate to being a nighttime eater because, you kind of like get through your day and, we know, especially when we're juggling so much each day, and it doesn't actually matter what's on your list that you're juggling. And, nothing is greater than others. Everyone's got a list that they're juggling that you do feel like you deserve some kind of trophy at the end of the day for making it through. And I mean, a bowl of ice cream to me is like, is definitely something that I enjoy. So, I mean, I can very much relate to the fact that, it just feels like you cross the finish line when you get to that like hour of the night, and that you deserve something to like, give yourself some praise, for that. And it's wonderful to be thinking about that there's so much more to it, than that. And, and that it is, more than a habit sometimes that you need to break, that because it's so ingrained, that there is some work you have to do and unpack, to really be able to change the behavior. So I really appreciate you sharing your story and, modeling that for us.
Yeah. And I want to bring in that what I've realized over time is that self-compassion and self-love are so important, because so easy to beat yourself up. Like, oh, I have this nighttime eating habit. What's wrong with me? And it's not easy. And we have been conditioned, and we've been conditioned to think that we do deserve to eat food as a reward.
Yeah.
Right. And we've been also conditioned in the same moments, perhaps, to blame ourselves for our behavior that's not perfect, or like that Instagram lady that we follow. And so it's really, really important for me to get out that message that it starts with compassion to yourself and allowing yourself to not be perfect and make mistakes. It's okay. It's actually part of the process.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you're kind of taking us there, but let's talk about what are some of the mindset tools that you teach your clients to embrace as part of this journey?
So we have actually 7 areas of mindset tools. I mean, we are getting really, really deep into this, and our work is really a one-on-one coaching. So we kind of pull in what the person needs in that moment. But if I could just, for anybody listening right now, to give you kind of a couple of tidbits of what I think is really important, besides the self-love and the compassion, is we kind of look at three areas. Inspiration is one of them. So if somebody doesn't feel inspired to make those changes, then it's really hard. So we need the inspiration. We also need to feel capable. Can I do this? Is this even feasible for me? And we also have to have the right information and the right tools. And this idea, this concept, which I just outlined, is based on, there's a behavioral scientist called BJ Fogg. So some of you may have heard of the book Tiny Habits. So I kind of took that and said, okay, well, how does this relate to us with losing weight, with being healthy? And motivation is the term he uses, but motivation comes from outside. Inspiration is something that you do that comes from within. Because the problem with motivation and the problem with most healthy eating or weight loss, programs that we do, is that we lose our motivation. So how do we maintain that? And I think a big part of that is that we got to call it inspiration. It's got to come from this inner desire to take care of your body.
Yeah, that's a great reframe. That really is a great reframe because, motivate it unto its own does sound like it takes a lot of energy, right? I mean, I always feel like you have to be a cheerleader to motivate, right?
Yes.
But, we can find inspiration in, everywhere, really.
Yes.
So it does feel more natural and less labored, if you will.
Yes. Yes. So my whole thing is, how do we do this with ease?
Yeah.
It's everything out there is about it being hard. I want to change a complete 180. How do we do this with ease? And just what you said, the word motivation, it inherently feels like work.
Yeah.
We don't want that because we've already tried all that and it doesn't work. It just makes us miserable.
For sure. So talk to me about presence over perfection, because I know that has a meaning for you in your work, and I'd love to hear why it's important.
So awareness or presence, the words are a little bit different, but they're similar. Awareness is one of the biggest mindset tools that we work with help our clients to understand. And I invite anybody who's listening to this if you could just bring a little bit of awareness to your eating rituals. So if you're about to eat something, just be present. Instead of trying to be a perfect eater, which we know doesn't exist. I've tried, I failed, and I'm a nutritionist. So let's just stop pretending that that's a thing. And let's bring awareness to the moment. And that's more gentle to ourselves, right? Like, I'm just going to pay attention. What am I about to eat? Where did it come from? How do I feel about this food? Am I actually hungry? So just kind of bringing those questions to mind is a great place to start in terms of that being present. Be present with your food.
And so that all makes sense, but let's talk about self-sabotage and perfectionism, right? Because I know that very often we can't be present because that kind of gets in our head and pulls us into a different place.
Yeah. So you can't really talk about awareness or healthy eating in general, healthy living, without talking about self-sabotage. We have, like we've been saying multiple times here, I use the term brainwashed because I think there's a lot of that's happened. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we're very influenced by diet culture, and also the culture of how a woman should look, how we define beauty. That has been handed over to us on a platter. This is how you need to look and to be beautiful, and this is how you need to look and act if you want to be healthy. And so we have internalized a lot of those messages like, oh, I don't have the right dress size. That can sabotage you. Absolutely. So again, I'll just go back to awareness. If you just hear those thoughts, the first step is to recognize them. Write them down. I realized I beat myself up a lot about if I don't eat well, even I do this. I'm talking about it and I still do it. Like if I don't eat well on a Saturday night, the next day I'm like, oh. But I'm bringing awareness to that and saying, all right, Jill, you did your best and it's done. It's in the past. I can't change it. So even just bringing awareness to those self-sabotage thoughts, write them down. You don't have to change them. Because I think a lot of the pressure we feel is put on ourselves that we have to change and we have to be better, and it's just not enough. And so if you could just slow down a little bit and say, yeah, I'm having those self-sabotage thoughts. And right now I'm having them. And that's okay. That takes off the pressure. And I always say, like, a lot of times we think it's like either good or bad. It's either good or bad. What I like to say is, you know what, it's good and it's bad. And when you open up that allowing and that curiosity about what's going on, you open up a path to a third option, which is more gentle and kind.
Gentle and kind is good for sure. So I noticed that on your website, and folks, we want you to definitely stay connected to Jill. We have the link to her website in the comments here so that you can go to it and learn more. And Jill, tell us also about your social media and where people can be connected to you. I know where would they need to go to look for you?
So the website that you put up there is a little bit, the website that I would recommend is actually our main website, that's for, as a speaker, my website. Sorry about that. But the website is Win Weight Loss. So the name of my business is Work With Your Nature Weight Loss. Mm-hmm. And so the goal is to help people to work with your nature, not against it.
Yeah.
So it's easy to remember. But the website itself is WYN Weight Loss. So we shorten it. So it's Perfect. Win Weight Loss. And so I have a blog, and I put up, you could spend the next year reading my blog posts and get an entire degree in nutrition and healthy eating. So that's a wonderful place to go for resources and learning. And, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Win Weight Loss. Again,
Great. Same. So we will look for you there, and we'll also put the new website. You're up. So the one we have up right now is if you want to connect with Jill for a speaking engagement, and exactly. We will add that other website into the comments as well, and so that you all can connect to her. But if you go read those blog posts and go hang out on her website, one of the things that you are going to see is the Empowered Health Declaration. Makes me think of our founding fathers, and something so formal. Talk to us a little bit about that declaration, and why is that something that women should embrace, so that they can feel healthier.
Yeah, so our business mostly focuses on healthy, sustainable weight loss. And there's a little bit of a conundrum around that because of all the negativity around the weight loss industry. So it was really important to me to make a statement to say, what I actually stand for is for women feeling empowered in your health. That is my ultimate goal and my passion. Yes, weight loss can help in certain ways, but you don't have to, not everybody has to lose weight, and not everybody wants to lose weight. So I really wanted to have a place to talk about what is really important. And so we have 4 pillars to empowered health, and they're love, wisdom, pleasure, and power. And so on that page, I go into detail about each of those 4 pillars. But ultimately, what I would love to see is a shift in the entire industry. And I would love to see more women saying, you know what? I have my own inner wisdom. And I am going to enjoy the ride. And I'm going to do this out of self love. And that is going to give me confidence. And that is empowering. Just to summarize it very briefly. That's where, that's where I want to go with this, and help other women to realize that we have the power.
I love that. And, we're all about empowering women at the YW. So again, that's definitely a place where we intersect. Well, before we wrap up, Jill, I just thought it would be great to have you talk us through a little bit. I mean, we're heading into summer and vacation time, right? And that's kind of like a double trip, because there's a part of that we're, thinking about, for so many of us, that means, going places and getting into a bathing suit, which really like triggers a lot of that body image stuff for so many of us. But it also is, vacation ends up being a time of eating, and where you can like go off the rails, because you're like, oh, well, it's just a week. Can you kind of give us some tips about how to manage those two pieces as we launch into these months?
Yeah. So again, I will go back to that self-compassion and self-love. I'm 51 years old, and I just decided one day, you know what? I'm wearing a bathing suit, and if somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it, but they're not my friend then, right? Like I'm just at the point where I don't care. And somebody recently said, a client of ours said that they went to this event, and they had a cousin or something who was wearing a bikini, who was definitely had like a lot of extra body fat, and she was totally comfortable and happy, and everybody else was too. And the woman said, why can't I be like that? Why can't I be like that? And so I think it is just a decision. It's not an easy one to maintain, but to really just say, you know what? I am where I am right now, and I'm beautiful no matter what my size is. I'm still beautiful, and I'm still worthy. So that's a mantra. That's a mantra. I have to use it. I have to use it too. I'm not immune to any of this stuff. So I will say to myself, you know what? I'm just going to go, and I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to have fun and not worry about what other people are thinking about me, because everybody else is worried about what everybody's thinking about them anyway. So why make myself suffer? So that's a mindset shift, right? In terms of the eating, I have a couple of strategies that I like. One is it's easier. Our willpower is strongest in the morning. It kind of wanes as the day progresses. So when you're on vacation or just throughout the summer, just make a point to getting a really good breakfast and a really good lunch, like nutritious, drinking lots of water. And then if you're going to indulge, do it selectively, strategically. If you want to have a piece of cheesecake or a pie or whatever, just enjoy it instead of mindlessly eating chips and crackers and hot dogs. And, just choose the thing that is important to you, that you enjoy. Take a moment, slow down, and enjoy every single bite. So of course I could say more, but I feel like those are enough tips for now.
Yeah, no, that definitely gets us on our way. And thanks to Alicia from our team, who dropped in the winweightloss.com link into the comments. And we've got Kathy Mira watching too, which is great. I really appreciate all that you shared, Jill. And, it is such an important conversation, and that it's good for us to be able to, again, revisit it regularly, because, this really is retraining our brain, and really it's a mind, body, soul thing, for sure. And it's a good reminder that those connectors all have to be in place, for us to be able to, live differently, live healthily, if that is a word, and really healthily, and if it's not, I created it, and I coined it for the YW. But I just really appreciate the conversation, and so many great tips, and just the way that you look at it all is very refreshing. And folks, I hope that you get connected to Jill, and learn more, read some of her blogs, spend some time on her website, and learn more and embrace what she's sharing with us today, because it's definitely it's not a seasonal conversation. It is a lifetime shift, for sure. for
Yeah,
sure.
and I have a Facebook group too. It's called Happy Healthy Weight Loss Sisterhood. So for people who want to kind of get that community feel on Facebook, you can do that. But I do just really, as a final note, really want to emphasize it starts with being kind, gentle, and compassionate to yourself, because that's what opens up the space because when you feel like you're beating yourself up, the last thing you want to do is make a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too negative. So be kind to yourself.
And go from there. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, folks. And with that, I also want to remind you that as we are inching towards the end of the school year for families, it's also a time where so many of us look to put our kids in camp for the summer and have them engaged in, great, healthy outdoor activities that are engaging their mind and body. And our YWCA team has some wonderful camps in place for you. Including our camp at Mawa and our camp at Dumont, both the great outdoors and also a school-based option. Both of them have all the great, STEM and outdoor fun, swim, all the things that you want your kids to really be connected to over the summer. And with that, we also have a special girls empowerment camp for ages 9 to 12 that you can sign up for, and also a lead camp that's more geared towards social justice learning, that a special pull-out week around that. So please head to our website, and we'll put the link here for you to also think about our camp options, including actually a SAS Girls Camp, which is really, again, all around climate change, sustainability, self-care, leadership skills, and health body awareness. That's specifically in our Jersey City location. So we hope that you embrace some of that. So many other great options, programs for you too, which you can see on our website or by staying connected to our social media. We wish everyone a great day. Have some intentional mindset as you go from here with some of the great tips and techniques that Jill has given us. And, we look forward to seeing you again at our next YWTV. Jill, thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Thank you so much. I really, really was honored to be here.
All right. Bye, everyone. Be well.
Bye.